And here we go, people. What is going on? Yes, that is right. It is Sunday, and we are live with the Series X podcast. That is right, guys. The Series X podcast, which means this is a show where all we do is talk about Xbox. Of course, we're going to talk about the Series X, you know, the Series S, but we go Xbox One. We even go way back to the OG Xbox. But one thing we do not do, we do not cater to the console war. We do not talk about any other platforms, either on the show or guys in the chat as well. I already had to remove one chat, but what's going on, guys? I hope you're having a great Sunday. What a week it has been in the land of the green machine. That is right. It has been a big week when it comes to Xbox. We have an update rolling out for the Xbox Series X and Series S. Also Xbox One, I believe, as well. The March update is rolling out to people. And, you know, if you've been living under a rock, I need to tell you something. Xbox has bolstered their lineup of first party with a little company called ZeniMax. And ZeniMax has a few studios underneath their belt that are now Xbox first party. But before we get into that, guys, what I need you to do is I need you to hit that thumbs up button and share this out on social media. Wherever you know Xbox gamers are hanging out, you got to let them know this is the place to be on Sunday. And while you do that, guys, I am going to go and introduce my partner in crime, the man of the hour, the guy who will find a way to hang out with his friends and drink like they are in a pub. Of course, it is the elusive gamer himself, a.k.a. Jamie Moran. What is up, brother?
Hey, man, it's been a good week and a lot of news this past week. And, you know, that gif of from Anchorman, you know, that escalated quickly. That was that past week. And, yeah, it's been good, man. I've been playing a lot of backwards compatible games lately. Getting ready for the FPS boost type thing. But, yeah, good times.
Nice, brother. And when it comes to backwards compatible games and stuff like that, I do have a topic when it comes to Game Pass. Oh, shoot. What is up, Lady Foxfire? It is good to see you in the chat, and in the chat early. Either she's really early or we're really late. Guys, I do know I am a few minutes late, and the reason why is this whole spring ahead, put the clocks ahead type thing has gotten me all messed up all day today. So, like, I was downstairs grabbing my coffee, and I looked at the clock, and it was like 6:04, and I'm like, no! I was ready to go at 5:30, people, but that's how messed up it is right now. Hopefully, after, a good night's sleep, under the whole putting the clock ahead 1 hour, everything will be straight after that. What is up, Dragonheart Yobi? Good to see you, brother. And everybody else, Cali Rex, Crazy Greek Dude, East Side, what is up, people? It is good to see you guys. And yes, like I said, it is finally it is final, guys. The deal between Xbox and ZeniMax. Xbox basically buying ZeniMax for over $7 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars, has been finalized. The EU and the United States governments have signed off on this. No monopoly whatsoever. And with that being said, we have a few new studios under our belt. Jamie, why don't you let them know what we have here for people who don't know when it comes to studios? Like, what studios are we talking about? And dude, what do you think about what's going on here with Bethesda now becoming, ZeniMax becoming, first party with Xbox, bro?
Oh, it's a big deal because, over like years, Microsoft has wanted to like bolster their first party portfolio. And, if you look back into the beginning of the Xbox One generation, they had like 5 studios or something. And it was pretty bleak because like people wanted a variety of games. So, they start buying studios in 2018, and they got In Exile and then Obsidian, and then they start looking elsewhere for RPG studios. And then the Bethesda thing just landed out of nowhere last year. I think it was September. It was the day before the pre-orders went live for the Xbox Series X and S. And, they've been in the process of buying them since because, a big company and a big purchase like that, it takes time. You have to, go to the European Trade Commission, see if they can actually do it because, sometimes these things could be classed as monopolies or something and not be allowed. The same thing happened with the Fox deal when Disney acquired all of the Fox content. But yeah, that went through, and now Microsoft have over 23 studios, and most of them studios consist of multiple teams making multiple games. Big time for Xbox, big time.
Brother, I gotta say, out of the studios, you have Bethesda, you have id Software, you have Machine Games, you have ZeniMax Online. I gotta ask you, dude, out of these studios, which one is your pick for the cream of the crop? Which one do you feel is the best studio in this entire acquisition that you are most excited for, brother?
Machine Games.
Really?
Yeah. I love the Wolfenstein games. Like the Wolfenstein
Even
games.
Youngbloods, man?
Yeah. We'll forget about that. And plus that was made by like a second part of I think it was a second Arcane team, or might have been Tango Softworks team, but like I'm talking about proper Wolfenstein New Blood, Wolfenstein Old Blood, and the new Colossus. And I love those games, man. They don't get enough credit, and they kind of Metroidvania-ish in a way. Some of them are at some parts, but you just run through areas with like you can run with like 2 sniper rifles and just gun down everyone. It's fantastic. You can ride like a mechanical dog and like bite people's heads off. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's what video games are about. Like I like games that just like go a bit wild. And when I first heard that they were going to make a Indiana Jones game, like that just threw me off a loop because out of all their studios, I never would have thought they would be the ones making them. But yeah, man, out of all the studios, that's it. And plus, they have a Japanese studio now with Tango Softworks, which is awesome because they've been looking to get more Japanese content and studios for a while. And like Phil said, this is the beginning of, Japanese studios.
Yeah. And, there was a quote unquote roundtable discussion kind of letting people know some of the information, the ins and outs of this acquisition. I mean, it was basically getting people familiar who might not necessarily be familiar with like the people at Bethesda, or if people weren't familiar with the people at Xbox either, and they're Bethesda fans because Bethesda, ZeniMax, they were third party development studios. I gotta say, Jamie, my favorite studio here. Can you guess what my favorite studio would be, bro?
id Software.
Dude, hit the nail right on the head. And guys, we did not talk about this before time. I just want to let you know that. id Software, Doom Eternal, the id Tech engine, which we will get into in a little bit as well. I feel that right there, that is the gem in the crown of this deal, of this acquisition. Seeing what they do with a game, both graphically and gameplay wise. Graphically, Doom and Doom Eternal look absolutely gorgeous, but if you look at the speed of those shooters, if you look at the smoothness of the movement, if you look at the gunplay and whatnot, their attention to detail on so many little things in terms of the experience, the overall experience, the mechanics, and the visuals. I am insanely excited for id Software becoming first party under Xbox. Now, Jamie, we got to talk about this, man, because when we first heard about this acquisition, kind of like in the making, people started speculating about what games would be exclusive, what franchises might stay multi-plat. It was a big thing in the community, and you had people going back and forth with their own ideas. And Jamie, I know us on this show, we definitely shared our ideas and what we thought. Now, to the people out there, I am not a proud man. I don't have too much pride in me to say that. I guess what I thought made common sense was not the way that Xbox was going. But Phil Spencer came out and he said to the Xbox owners out there, this deal, and I'm quoting loosely, all right, not word for word, before I see it on Twitter that I said this, but he said that. But he said to the Xbox owners out there, this deal, this acquisition was to ensure that, what was directly tied in with Game Pass. Basically that, games coming out from these studios are not going to go on any other device, on any device that doesn't support the Game Pass app. So basically what he's stating is, Xbox platform exclusive, because we all know, when it comes down to it, you have the Xbox console, you have Xbox on PC, Xbox games on PC. You have xCloud, which is, Xbox games streaming to your multiple devices. And he said that is where these games from Bethesda, id Software, Machine Games, ZeniMax Online, that's where these new games, when they come out, that's where they're going and nowhere else. Jamie, what do you think about this move, man? Do you think, was this a no-brainer, or did this take some, for lack of a better term, did this take some balls to, grab all these studios that are known for multiplats, right? That have franchises that are still popular, people are still waiting for the next iteration of, and then pulling them into the Xbox ecosystem and just saying, you know what? If a device does not support Game Pass, these games will not be on that device, man. What do you think about this, bro?
I mean, they did what they had to do, didn't they? For years, people have mocked Microsoft for not having enough games, and then not enough studios, and you need studios to make games. So, them going for Bethesda in a time when Bethesda wanted to be purchased, yeah, it makes sense. And here's the thing, I think I've seen a lot of people read too much into the term devices with Game Pass on. Devices with Game Pass on is basically him saying Xbox ecosystem, because you have to think about, we live in a world where people could get confused by the simplest thing. No matter what people do, people will get confused. So him coming out and saying these games will be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem going forward. Can throw people off because they'll be like, well, does that mean a tablet and PC and Xbox? Does that mean all games? Because we know Age of Empires isn't going to console, at least not at launch, at least what we know now. But him saying Game Pass means that we know what Game Pass is on right now: Xbox, XCloud, which mobile and PC, which everyone has one of those devices. And there's been rumors of an Xbox, Roku style stick, which again,
the Series C, some people are calling it.
Yeah, I think the name's a bit stupid, but and plus, like, naming it a Series C makes no sense because it's a stick. It's not another console.
I
they
think
just
the
call
C
it an
would
Xbox
stand
stick.
for cloud.
I cringe, man. But like, it's what they had to do. I mean, I put it like this: as a superhero fan, I used to love playing Spider-Man games on the Xbox 360. I can't do that anymore. I can't. So Microsoft did what they did. And here's the thing: Microsoft have been clowned on for years and made fun of because they don't have enough games, and now people are port begging for titles. Now they did say not all games, so you still have Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo going elsewhere.
There was certain kind of like I forgot the name of the word for it, but there were certain things that were excluded from that. Jamie, do you want to let the people out there listening now, like, let them know what kind of like the parameters were?
Yeah, so unless there's a deal in place, so like the Ghostwire Tokyo or Deathloop thing, or other deals, they can't take away games that's already on existing platforms. They're not going to stop supporting games on existing platforms with expansions and stuff. So the next Doom expansion is still going elsewhere as planned, because that's already out there. MMOs going forward, such as Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, will still get support and new expansions going forward. That's what I took away from it, because those are the deals that we know of. And he did say that if there's other deals in place, going forward, that would make sense. But I don't think the games people think would be going multi-platform will be going multi-platform. I'm just putting it out there.
Like what games are you
Indiana
saying?
Jones.
Oh yeah, because there has been out there in the community, out there social media. People are speculating that Indiana Jones might actually be multi-plat. Why do you think that it is going to be exclusive to the Xbox platform?
So whenever there's a big game announced, publishers and platform holders tend to like tweets, retweet them, and may mention them in other posts. Indiana Jones has not been mentioned by any other platform ever, or liked, like when it comes to this new game announcement. And in the latest Xbox On, so the Xbox UK YouTube channel, they mentioned, Indiana Jones has been brought back to Xbox, and just the way it was said, like it's just the painting, it's the writing on the wall. Like Microsoft, when they went to buy Bethesda, they knew what games was coming down the line because they had to know what their investment was getting them. And I've seen a lot of people say that, because it's an IP like Indiana Jones, it means it has to be multi-platform. That isn't true, because the Mario box has its own Avengers game. So the Marvel IP is worth billions more than Indiana Jones.
Yeah, shout out to Talus Gaming in the chat. He says, "Do people really care about indie though, brother? You don't care about Indiana Jones? Like, I know, I grew up watching Indiana Jones and the multiple movies in that franchise, and if it wasn't for Indiana Jones, we wouldn't have a Lara Croft or a certain Nathan that's on another platform as well. So I mean." We should care about Indiana Jones, to be really honest with you. He is the originator of all of that stuff. And, he is an iconic character. Am I right there, Jamie?
Yeah, no, you're right. Indiana Jones is iconic. The way it was shot is iconic. Other filmmakers basically, were inspired by Indiana Jones and inspired by Star Wars. Like, the way these films were shot live on to even new TV shows and stuff. Hell, The Mandalorian kind of has some Indiana Jones elements. So it's like, I'll never understand that comment. And the thing is, up until that game was announced, I never heard a single person on Earth ever say, who cares about Indiana Jones? No one has ever said that, ever. Like, there's IPs that are like 40 years old or whatever that people love. Blade Runner, Alien, RoboCop, Terminator, Predator, like all these IPs. And again, Disney bought like the whole like Alien franchise, included with Fox for billions, remember? And that's an old IP. Same with Indiana Jones. And it's like people care about these things. And I'll never understand that comment. Do people care about Indiana Jones? Like, you have to say it out loud. And like, if you say it out loud, you sound like a crazy person. Like, how? How is that a thing? Like, it's a iconic film trilogy. I'm ignoring the fourth film, but it's an iconic set of films. And I'll never understand. Like, Lara Croft was basically based on Indiana Jones, and Tomb Raider was amazing. Even the dinosaurs thrown in there randomly were amazing, and
very randomly.
Remember, how should I put it? Another company has an IP, and its code name was Dude Raider, which was based on Indiana Jones, which was where Tomb Raider came from. It's like it's a silly comment. It's a silly comment. Like, Indiana Jones, of course, does matter.
Yeah, and Talos, he said he's talking about the games, not the movies. He's saying the games were horrid, and I think that's another reason why people are excited, because if you really thought like the Indiana Jones games that have come out in the past were no good, now you have a different developer willing to take on the project and to try to make it a good game. You see what I'm saying? Like, I am one of those people. I played the OG Xbox, the Indiana Jones, on that one, and it was okay for the time, but it never really grabbed me to the point where I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta beat this game. But I'm excited to see what a new studio will do with the name, with the character, and with all the potential there for a great game. You know what I'm saying, Jamie?
Yeah. I mean, look, I love Star Wars, Star Trek. And do you know what Star Trek and Star Wars have both in common? They've both had amazing and absolutely crappy video games. Absolutely terrible video games. But they've also had absolute masterpieces. Jedi Fallen Order, Knights of the Old Republic are a massive leagues away from Star Wars Obi-Wan. Like that game was terrible, and I try to like it as much as I can. Star Trek Armada 2 is one of the best RTS games I've ever played, but I've played some pretty terrible Game Boy Star Trek games. So it's like, it swings and roundabouts. Like, we're gonna say, it's like there was gonna be a game on the Xbox 360, an Indiana Jones game, but it got cancelled, and it looked spectacular. It was basically an Uncharted or Tomb Raider style game where there's a scene where and there's still footage up on YouTube, but it's like 340p because the footage is 12 years old. But it's like there's a scene where you're fighting someone on top of like a carriage going down San Francisco, and it was like so cool. But we never got that. We never got an Indiana Jones game like for 2 generations straight. But it's machine games. Like, I have faith in them.
You caught me right in the middle of taking a drink. But when you said, yeah, we never saw that game, just like Star Wars, what was it, 1313?
Yeah.
We never saw that game either. And from what we saw from that would have been absolutely, that would have been amazing. That definitely had potential right there. But let's bring it back to this acquisition, because like I said, there was a roundtable discussion, and they had they had people from both Bethesda and Xbox there. Of course, Phil Spencer was there, Larry Herb was there, Todd Howard was there. Who's the other guy for Bethesda? I'm forgetting.
Pete Hines.
Pete Hines. There we go. Then they had the lady that was in charge of marketing. I forgot her name as well. I'm doing really good today, by the way. Yeah. But and they went through, and they went like kind of like studio by studio and said what they were excited about. Basically Phil Spencer kind of said what he was excited about with them now working under the Xbox umbrella, and then the developers themselves said why they were excited about this acquisition and what it meant to them. Now, there was a lot of information in that roundtable, and of course there was definitely PR speak in there, because that is literally what this is. It's to warm people up to this idea. It's to let people know, get them informed. Jamie, what was your biggest takeaway, other than just the blatant kind of like acquisition and stuff like that, what was your biggest takeaway? What was kind of like the most interesting thing that you saw from this round table that you would want to like let the people know about?
Yeah, so I had two big takes. One being they mentioned future events in the summer. Because
Yes.
if people listen and remember, like we'd normally get an Xbox show and a Bethesda show. So potentially this year we're going to get two Xbox shows in 2 days, which is bloody awesome. But the major takeaway was when they start talking about sharing tech. Because if anyone's ever played
Dude, you
Rage
took
2,
mine. You took mine. No. Ah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
sorry, but I had to. But they mentioned Rage 2, and now Rage 2's weapons feel a lot like Doom, and that's what makes it like so good. That's why the Pete Hines was mentioning, sharing tech. They can do that with studios, and Microsoft having like all these first-party studios under one roof, like they can share tech now, and just the prospect of I'm just imagining stuff here. An id Software first-person Gears spin-off, right? Uh,
Mm.
just a campaign, no multiplayer, but like just things like that. Like they can go wild, and id Tech that is an impressive engine. As you were saying earlier on in the show, id Tech is impressive because of the detail on the weapons, and Bethesda's philosophy with weapons is that you see the gun 90% of the game, so that is the character, and they have super detailed weapons in
Every
Doom,
little gear
Wolfenstein.
turning,
Yeah,
everything with movement. Yeah, dude, it's insane. I was actually playing Doom Eternal today, by the way, and dude, when you switch your mod for the secondary firing, just the amount of detail with you switching the mod and how the gun, like the how it changes, how it looks, but how it attaches together and stuff like that. Absolutely incredible, bro.
yeah. No one does weapon animations like id Tech. No one. Like Wolfenstein, they use that engine, and they have like little gears turning, and you can see all the bullets going at the weapon and stuff. It's just fantastic, and just the thought that they can do that, and I know that the next Elder Scrolls is using a new engine, and I would love to have that much detail on swords and bows and shields and stuff. But I just like the idea that all of them can share this tech now, because Microsoft tend to use Unreal Engine for their games, which I have no problem with. I think Unreal Engine's fantastic. But like the fact that they have this tech in house now just means it can go wild now.
Oh, dude, and shout out to Epic with their Unreal Engine. It's one of the most popular game development engines out there. Um, but dude, Jamie, to me, like you hit the nail on the head, directly on the head when it comes to like one of the things I really took away from the roundtable discussion, and it's basically id Software with the id Tech engine. And dude, did you see how excited Phil Spencer was talking about that engine and the ability for other first party studios to use it and utilize it in their titles?
Yeah, he did seem really excited with that
Oh
thing,
my
and
goodness.
the thing is like this is just a weird idea. Like, what if the Halo after Halo Infinite is id Tech?
Do you think?
Like,
I don't know. You spend so much money on slip space, bro.
or any other game really, like like Doom, like everyone loves how Doom looks, like it's
Mm.
so much detail. And yeah, even Phil said like how they take advantage of like every pixel on screen. There's just ridiculous detail even in the environment. Like you see like a scrap heap on the floor, and it's still got tons of detail. Like that's what id Tech does. But they can go really wild. And the thing is, we go back to Indiana Jones. Like I can't even think how that game's gonna look. Like really, but I mean, it's exciting because I think Microsoft can do more ambitious stuff now. And the thing is, I mentioned this on my video the other day on the Elusive Gamer, where I talked about why buying these studios, and it's not just the tech or the talent and stuff. They can go wild now. And the thing is, Bethesda's games take a long time to make and they're expensive to make. With Game Pass, they can take more risks now. Bethesda don't have to be so risk averse. A Wolfenstein or a Prey. Let's talk about Prey. Prey is I don't like to say the word niche because people take it the wrong way. Prey isn't the type of game that is going to sell 12 million copies. It is the type of game that makes variety and excitement in something like Game Pass because they need variety.
Mm.
So like with Game Pass and them getting money every single month, as opposed to like selling a game once and then just having it out there for a few months selling, they can put games out there and not worry about how much it sells. And I think that's one of the big things why Bethesda are excited, because they don't have to worry as much, because Bethesda's overhead bloody high, I'm guessing, considering the amount of employees they have. And it's just the fact that, and a lot of those teams have, or studios have multiple teams now, and they can just do more. And that's exciting to me because I feel like we live in an age where too many developers aren't taking enough risks, because in an age like now, people are very risk averse. Like, so the only bankable games developers are looking at now is games as a service games, action adventure games, and open world games with, samey elements. And I feel like there's not enough variety coming. Like, you look at a lot of games coming in the next year and a half, it's all a bit samey. But with something like this, they can just take more risks, and to me, that's something I'd like to see.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think we will definitely touch base on the whole kind of like Game Pass aspect to this when it all comes down to it. You take a step back and you look at what's going on here. I feel like a couple years down the road, people are going to look back on this acquisition kind of like in awe and kind of be like, man, that is really something that catapulted us to this day. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times when you're living in history, it's going so fast that you might not necessarily grasp how big it is right off the bat. So, with that being said, I got to ask you, man. This is a big acquisition here. It's a lot of money that crossed the business table here, the business desk or whatever you want to call it. A lot of studios just went, that were multi-plat, just went first party. Jamie, I got to ask you, what do you think the kind of like short-term results of this acquisition are going to be? But then I also want to know, I got to try to stretch the imagination here of the people watching. And of course you, brother. And one of the reasons why I love doing the show with you is because you automatically do that anyway. You automatically start thinking down the road, what this is going to mean down the road. So I want to hear what you think the long term kind of like ripple effect is going to be here when it comes to this acquisition, bro.
Long term, I think Bethesda's going to be able to put out games more consistently because their games are really far apart. They can get help from outside studios. So, like as we've heard, the Coalition is helping with Halo, which makes sense. And if they can work together like that, and Bethesda, a lot of their studios are very close to Microsoft studios, so that makes sense. And even Phil said that. Or I should say, Todd Howard mentioned that, the whole bug thing. Like, Bethesda games do have bugs. All games have bugs, but it's like, it's became a meme. And they did say that they can, kind of work out the bugs more now because, the tech's there and the help's there. So I think long term, Bethesda's going to get more content out. And, Game Pass is going to have a bigger variety of games. Short term, I think people are just going to like dive deep into Game Pass, and Microsoft's going to push Game Pass unlike anything before, because like all those big titles, like I don't know if anyone saw the trailer they put out after the roundtable.
Oh, dude, I grabbed that trailer. It's a part of what we're watching like right now as we're talking about it. Shout out to anybody who takes the time out to put the show on the screen and actually check out the graphics and what's going on and kind of like either the gameplay or the trailers and stuff like that. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, no, I put that kind of like graphics where it's like, Master Chief meeting up with Doom Slayer or Doom Guy. And, they had that kind of like mashup and welcoming Bethesda to the family. That's the trailer you're talking about, right?
Yeah. And, it had a few things I like. I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I'm a fan of Xbox. And I'm a fan of Bethesda. And it was just perfect. Like, whoever edited that deserve a raise or something. Like, it was perfect. And, if they need to put that on TV, that has to be on TV like yesterday, and has to be on all the time, because like that is the best Game Pass trailer I've ever seen. It's probably the best Xbox trailer I've ever seen. It was just perfectly edited. You know, Chief wakes up and then there's the dude, the Skyrim dude, son. Oh, you awake? It's like it was so good. And I think they're going to push Game Pass a lot. You know, there's still some games yet to come to Game Pass. So Fallout 3, The Evil Within 2, and Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus are yet to come to Game Pass. So those will probably come short term. But, you know, I think they're going to go heavy with the upgrades because we're getting some FPS boosts to those games specifically, or just some of them. So Dishonored 3, Fallout 76, Fallout 4 will get one in the future. And I think Elder Scrolls Online, you know, FPS boosts for those games going to be massive, especially Prey. Prey at 60 frames, yeah. So short term, they're going to push Game Pass really mad. And, you know, I think it's exciting because, you know, I know we're talking before the show went live, like Microsoft has a lot of RPG studios. There's been this kind of stigma for Xbox for years now that they're obsessed with multiplayer and they're obsessed with games as a service. But if you look at the games heading to Game Pass and the games announced, they are all very single player centric, like extremely single player centric. And the thing about Game Pass is that they need retention. They need people to stay subscribed for months and years. And like putting multiplayer games in there isn't the choice or isn't the best way to do it. They put big games in there, big RPGs, big ass RPGs. And those people like me will stay subscribed for years to come because I like RPGs. I like big ass RPGs. And they've got a lot of big ass RPGs now. And, you know, I think this is the way forward because like you look at the industry right now and it's a lot of games as a service games. People look at the top 10 list on Twitch and assume that if a game's not in there, it's a failure. The truth is that's not how it actually works. A metric for a game isn't based on views, but these big games in Game Pass will be pushed a lot. So we're going to see Chief's face in all the advertisement like we normally do, but we're also going to see Doom Guy because Doom Eternal, that's sold like hotcakes. You know,
Dude,
Doom
sick.
2016.
Hold on, that's two badass characters with green armor that know how to wield weapons, and they're like under one umbrella now, bro.
Yeah, and the think about it like this: Microsoft, and I haven't heard anyone mention this, so you hearing it here first, and I'll probably see other people use it. Microsoft now own the holy FPS trinity. You know, Wolfenstein, Doom, Halo.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they are, wow. And my favorite thing in the world, they are now the Space Marine box again. I love that. Like you take two things, smash them together, Space Marines. It's the coolest thing ever. Like I remember in 2007, I remember a GameSpot article calling Xbox the Space Marine box because they had Halo, Gears, and Mass Effect. And at the time, I just thought, well, that's bloody cool. But yeah, I mean, they have the holy FPS trinity under one belt, and you know, just going forward, they can just like advertisement. I can just imagine the advertisement for Game Pass and Xbox going forward. It's going to be nuts. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Let me throw in my 2 cents here. All right, short term. We already saw one of the ripple effects, and that's 20 Game Pass games. 20 Bethesda games are in Game Pass now, and we will definitely talk about those. I actually have them up on my Series S right now. I have the list here, and we will go in and talk about those. But short term, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have existing games from Bethesda, from id, from Machine, going into Game Pass that aren't going to leave now. See, that's the whole thing as well, because some of those games were in Game Pass before the announcement, but you never knew when they were going to leave because they're strictly third party. Now with them being first party, it's exactly what Xbox said about, the Halos, the Gears, the Forzas, soon to be, what Hellblade 2, all the first party games are going to be in Game Pass once they release, and they're going to be in Game Pass forever. So now all those Bethesda games, like, you can actually go and take time and start like Skyrim or something like that, and you have no rush to finish it. You can go in and play it at your leisure when you feel like it. When you got to scratch that itch, and it will be there in your subscription service. I think that's absolutely huge. In the long term, and this is where some people might get angry with me, and I don't think necessarily Xbox people, but some other people might get angry with me. With what Xbox is doing here with Game Pass and how they are bolstering it, how they are, acquiring all these studios. They are acquiring these studios so they can be self-sufficient with Game Pass. They don't necessarily need the third party. They don't have to go and extend and be like, hey, we would like your game on Game Pass or whatnot. They could run it internally with all these studios, no problem. To the point where they might get it to the point where third-party studios will be coming to them like, hey, we like that Game Pass subscription model. What do we got to do to get our game on there? It would flip the coin on that. And if that does that, if Game Pass does that, if Xbox does that with these types of acquisitions and everything, basically what Xbox is doing, all right. And Jamie, I want to hear you. I want to hear your opinion on this when I bust this out, right? What Xbox is doing is forcibly changing the game. They're changing it to the point where, they have built this subscription service up, and they're changing it to the point that any other company in this space is either going to have to try to imitate or get out of the way, basically. Jamie, do you understand what I'm saying with that? And let me know what you think about my idea here. I feel like Xbox is literally molding the future of the gaming industry to what they want. And they are doing it with their wallets, and they're doing it buying these studios. They're doing it with their cloud infrastructure. And they're basically getting it to the point where they are putting themselves back in the lead by innovating and molding the gaming industry into what they are good at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people at the minute are completely ignoring where the game industry's going. Like, for me, for instance, right, I like having my boxed copy, and I would love game manuals to return, right? But one, that isn't good for the environment, and it's kind of a waste if you think about it. But, I'm over that, right? I still will buy physical games, but, like, the industry's changing. More people are going towards digital. A lot of people are being very risk averse when it comes to spending the money, especially with everything going on in the world right now. So like the whole subscription model is way more appealing right now, and it makes sense. Like Netflix would not be around right now if it was just tanking, right? Mm-hmm. Disney wouldn't put all that money into Disney Plus if it was not worth it. Like they're not going to get a profit for 6 years, but in the long term, it's going to be a massive payoff. They have over 100 million subscribers now. And like it's only been a year and like a month or something since they came out, or at least in the UK. But it's like Microsoft, they've pushed the industry forward without people realizing. They pushed multiplayer back with the original Xbox online, like unlike anyone else. With the Xbox 360, they put digital content and digital purchases easily available for everyone to find, unlike anyone else on a console. Xbox One, a lot of people don't like to talk about this, but the media device thing. Consoles have been media devices for multiple decades now, right? From playing, audio CDs to DVDs to Blu-rays to now, 4K Blu-rays and streaming 4K content. Microsoft knows where the industry's going. They do. They have a massive cloud infrastructure. I mean, other first-party companies now invest in Azure Cloud because it works. And I think people have to prepare for how the world's going, because Tencent is buying studios and looking to buy EA and Activision, all that crap, right? Because they are probably going to start a new streaming service, and they're gonna have to bolster that with new games and huge games. And imagine if Tencent buy the Call of Duty makers Activision, right? That would bloody shake up everything, right? Oh, yeah. Because then you'd have the Call of Duty holder not putting their game on anything else. And that's something Microsoft and other platform holders do not want. They do not want that. So if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda, someone else would. We're going to see more companies adopt subscription models. We're going to see Microsoft probably make more deals to put more content by different publishers on Game Pass. I think it's okay, because the thing is, I've seen a lot of people be scared and, keep calling it renting because they think that makes it bad. It's okay to not spend as much money possible on content. I don't like the idea that games have went up price 2 generations in a row now. And that really annoys me. Games are borderline £70 now when they used to be 35 on the Xbox 360. Like, it's ridiculous. But the subscription model makes sense. It just makes sense because everyone listening right now probably buys multiple games a year, or a dozen games a year, or even more, right? Most people aren't like that. Most people buy 1 or 2 games a year. And those people make no money for these platform holders. It's us nerds, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's millions of us nerds versus the tens of millions that buy 2 games a year. So even if they can get those to subscribe to Game Pass, they welcome themselves to all this content for less money than they'd spend on games that they wouldn't have bought either way. And it's like, I think it's okay for things to change. It's 2021. People are, how should I put it? People use Netflix as basically their entertainment now, right? You have less and less people getting cable in the US. You have less and less people getting Sky in the UK because Netflix. That's all. People look at that and think, "Oh, I only need that. I only need Disney Plus."
Oh, brother, when it comes down to it, I will let you know, the entertainment in this house, there is no cable. The only bill that the cable gets from me is the internet service. It is a cable company that we get our internet service from. But I have, me and my son, we have Sling TV. I have the ESPN. We have Disney Plus. We tried to use my sister's Hulu, but they actually have a security in force with that one when it comes to the zip code. If it's a different zip code, like it'll change stuff on her account. So we didn't do that because I felt like there would be a problem there. But yeah, everything that we have is basically subscription services in terms of our entertainment, and me and him have our own game passes as well. And we have all subscriptions, bro.
Like, I put it like this: whenever we see Microsoft advertise a new game, they don't say buy it on Xbox at the end. They say play it on Game Pass. They would rather have you subscribe to a subscription service than go out and buy this game piecemeal. Like, really think about that, because the store holder takes their cut, and it's all downhill from there. It's like they're going to make more money this way. And the thing is, this is not me saying, oh, Microsoft needs to make all the money in the world. It's like, I'm saving. If I bought every game I played on Game Pass, I'd be spending £1,000 more a year than I normally would.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I my bad. I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I gotta say, with the direction that Game Pass is going, I am a happy gamer. All right, I play on the Xbox platform. Everybody in the chat knows that. Anybody who has me on their friends list, you see me playing PGA, PGA 2K. You see me playing Halo. You see me playing games on my Xbox. You do see YouTube and stuff like that as well, because I can't play games 24/7. People, let's be real. But I forgot where I was going with that, man. I had a complete brain fart. But what were we? What were you? Hopefully, I can jog back my memory, man. What were you saying again about
like the current trends and everything change, and we have to deal with it, because it's fine for things to change. Like, okay, I have a friend right now in real life. He's probably listening right now. He used to buy a console and buy 1 game a year, and that would be like Call of Duty or something, right?
So that one game a year got me. All right.
Yes.
The reason why I'm excited about Game Pass is, like, when you look at the games like Halo Infinite, the next Forza, stuff like that, games I would have normally spent $60 on. Xbox is basically saying, nah, it's cool, man. Like, if you have this subscription service, and I have Ultimate Game Pass, $15 a month. If you have this service, we're just gonna put that in there. Day one, when those games release, it's gonna save me a ton of money, brother.
Yeah, and this is the thing. But my friend that only buys Call of Duty every year, right? He moved from PC gaming to Xbox One X, right? Because he saw the whole Game Pass thing. He just prefers gaming on console now. So when he got his Xbox One X, he noticed these RPGs, this little thing called The Witcher 3, and he started playing that. And then he said, oh, I love this game. It's like unlike anything I've ever played. And I recommended some other RPGs. So I told him to play The Outer Worlds, and he bloody loved it. I told him to try Fallout. He bloody loved it. And I told him to play Mass Effect when it gets remastered. So with him being subscribed to Game Pass, he got his Xbox Series X day one, and he was one of these kind of casual people that would only buy Call of Duty every year, and now he's still subscribed to Xbox Game Pass, and he's playing Wasteland.
Huh.
Wasteland is the polar opposite game of an FPS, right? Call of Duty multiplayer 1 minute to Wasteland RPG, and he loves Wasteland now, right? And now, rather than Microsoft get what their 30% cut of the Call of Duty copy you'd get every year, he's now spending what $100 or £1 a year on what, an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or whatever it is. Like they now make more money off this guy who would only buy one game a year, and now he's buying DLC and expansions for those games that are in Game Pass. So I think it's okay for this industry to change. Like, the industry's been the same for so bloody long, despite the fact the world's changing around us.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And I know I say it every day. People are afraid. People are afraid. Like, people assume because Game Pass exists and you can get games via a subscription that the quality goes down. It's like, no. It's like you have Netflix working on $100 million action films right now. Like, it's okay for people to deal with change.
If anything, the quality on Netflix has gone up since their original content has become more popular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like their TV shows are some of the best in my opinion. Stranger Things, Witcher, bloody good. But their TV, they put more money in TV shows now. There's some films. There's a new TV show starting Monday, I think. It's a big budget, pirate program. And then in May, there's another big budget program with pirates and demons and stuff. Can't remember the names, but they look bloody good. And they having a new superhero show. It's called like Jupiter Fallen or something. It looks cool, but they putting more money into TV shows now because they have so many subscribers. And it's like, we're going to see that with games. We're going to see Bethesda games with more funding because of Game Pass, because of Microsoft. And it's like, it's okay for the industry to change. And I'll never understand why people are celebrating $70 games piecemeal as opposed to playing games via a subscription service. It makes no bloody sense. It makes no sense.
Well, Jamie, I got a question for you before we move on to the Game Pass, and then a rumor that a game's coming to Game Pass that I think a lot of people are excited for and stuff like that. But before we get there, because we got to look at both sides of the coin, right? There are people that are concerned with the popularity of Game Pass and with the investment in Game Pass as well, because Game Pass is definitely popular. It can definitely blow up even more, and I see that happening. Not only with this acquisition and seeing these Bethesda games go into Game Pass, but when first party really starts dropping on Xbox and all those games are going into Game Pass as well, you're going to see a lot of people subscribing to play those games. There are people concerned that this might take away the console. This might take away digital games. Our buddy Albert was in the chat as well, and we all know Albert pretty much as a PlayStation guy. And he was like, well, I'm not sure if these Bethesda games are going to actually have physical copies coming out because, they're talking about Game Pass so much and stuff like that. Now, not necessarily Albert himself, because I know what he likes to do. He likes to entertain himself in these podcast chats and kind of ruffle feathers and mix things up a little bit. But there are people that are genuinely concerned that physical copies of games and eventually consoles, if these subscription services do take off, consoles might be a thing of the past. Dude, what do you think about that?
I remember in 2012 hearing people like, what was that investor, Michael something? He gives all these weird predictions.
Pachter?
Yeah, Michael Pachter, right? In 2012, he said something like, and a lot of the industry was looking at this. A lot of the industry, including people like, developers like Square Enix, were looking at the iPad and, tablet and iPhone game and like going really popular. A lot of these people predicted that the consoles wouldn't exist because mobile gaming's taken off. We still got an Xbox One and we still got other platforms by other platform holders. And look where we are now. We have these super powerful consoles capable of ray tracing up to 120 frames that people are buying in the millions whenever they can get their hands on them. And people don't flock to mobile gaming now. The little casual people that spend pennies at a time on these microtransaction thingamadoodles, that's them. We are the people that make the bank in the gaming industry that Microsoft care about, that other platform holders care about. So when it comes to, are they going to still make physical games? Of course they are. People shouldn't worry about that because, one, they still have people that, don't have great internet. People don't want to download every single game. Like, think about a lot of people I talk to online that live in the US, they still have bloody like content down restrictions or whatever you call it. It's like people can't afford to like download these massive games constantly. They just can't. So of course we're still gonna have discs. I think that's just one of these things that something happens for Microsoft, people come out of ways, to concern. They aren't gonna stop printing discs. Otherwise we wouldn't have this Xbox Series X with a disc drive. Like, people shouldn't worry about this crap. It's going to be fine. People can still buy it. And here's the thing. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon sell films directly. They sell films made by other people, but they blatantly have the online market for DVDs and Blu-rays. But it's like they still sell their films they make just for them, even though it's in their streaming service. People shouldn't worry about this crap. As gamers, we don't have to be concerned about something all the time. We don't. We can just sit back, let the industry do what they do, and enjoy the fucking spoils.
If it ever gets to a point where companies are doing things dirty within the video game industry, I think it would be a small piece of a larger problem throughout the world, per se. You know what I'm saying? I've called subscription services Trojan horses at points in time as well. I do realize that any of these companies, if they can get away with not doing research and development, no manufacturing costs, and still make money off services and and games and selling games, they would definitely do it. Any of these companies would do that. All right, it's not there yet, but any of these companies would do that. Now, with what I'm seeing with Game Pass, they're putting everything into this service. And I would be a fool not to take advantage of that right now. And when it comes to what's going to happen in the future, when it comes to physical games and such, for me personally, it's not a big deal to me personally. But I know there are people out there that are genuinely concerned about that. And what I tell those people is you still have the option to purchase games the way you want to. If you want to go and buy the physical disc and you want to spend $60 or $70 per title and do it that way, you completely have that option right now. And there is no sign that any company is taking that away from you anytime soon. All right. As far as I go, with what Xbox is doing with Game Pass and how much they are investing into it and how much they want people into the ecosystem, they are putting everything in this. They are putting everything a gamer like me could want. And so that's where I'm going. That's where I play the majority of my games. It's all basically through Game Pass. And to me, it saves me a lot of money. So, that's 2 thumbs up for me right there. But I can see, people's concern for the long run, down the long road or whatnot. But we're not even close to there yet. So it is what it is. But Jamie, let's talk about Game Pass real quick. I do have my Xbox on here with this list, and because of the Bethesda acquisition, let me run through the list of games that are on there now. And I believe these are going to be accompanied by The Evil Within 2 is not on here, but I think that is coming to Game Pass. But let me go through the list as it is right here. Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, Doom Eternal, Fallout New Vegas, Dishonored 2, Rage 2, Wolfenstein, Stein, right? It's Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein.
All right, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Elder Scrolls Morrowind, Wolfenstein The Old Blood, The New Order, Dishonored Definitive Edition, Prey, Old School Doom 2, The Evil Within, Doom 3, which was one of my favorite games on the OG Xbox, The old school retro style Doom, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Fallout 4, and old school Doom 64. Now, when I saw all these games go in, and like I said, a few of these games were already in Game Pass. All right, that is true, absolutely true. But when I saw all these games go in, I'm like, wow. A lot of people are gonna go in and start downloading. At least a couple of these games. This is really gonna do something within the gaming community. Jamie, there are people saying that all these games are old, and it's not really a big deal. 20 Game Pass games right here, a bunch of incredibly popular titles. People are saying that these are old and it didn't really make that much of a difference. What do you think, Jamie? What was your idea when you saw these games drop in Game Pass? What was your reaction, bro?
Well, I was excited because I don't have to put the disc in the machine anymore.
You probably got them all, right?
I have everything there outside of Fallout 76. But yeah, I was excited because I don't have to put the disc in anymore. So I have the game downloaded already or installed from the disc, and I just have to hit play, and that's all I've been doing. I love the fact that, look, I've seen a lot of people say, well, I've got the game on disc or whatever. I like having games on disc. We're talking about the whole physical thing. But when a game enters Game Pass that I already have, I'm like, cool, I've got the benefit of it being on my shelf. Remember, that was the original idea of the Xbox One, that you could have your little disc and you could play digitally. Now I can essentially do that with these games coming to Game Pass. And, I saw a lot of hype from this. I saw people talk about old games, and it's like, please. Like, some of the most influential games of all time and interesting games. Like, people love Bethesda games. Like, I'll never understand the concept of old games. Like, when I watch a film every night before I go to bed, and most of them films aren't new. Most people don't watch new films constantly. So when it comes to games, I just don't understand this whole, I must only consume something new. We have a catalogue of thousands of games spanning multiple generations on Xbox Series X and S right now, and Xbox One. And it's like, we have our choice to play whatever the hell we want. It doesn't matter how old it is. Like, I can't, whenever someone calls these games old, are you really telling me that you've played every single bloody game that's ever come out? No. No, they can't. No, they can't. Proof. Show me proof. Online right now. Jamie Man UK on Twitter. Show me proof that you've played every single game out there. And then otherwise, I'll apologize. Otherwise, I'm not. Because I'm right. And these people are wrong. I love the fact that more people are playing Prey right now in my feed than I've seen in the past 2 years. So that's a bloody win, in my opinion. These games deserve to be played. And again, like things like Prey and Dishonored are going to discover whole new audiences. Like I was telling you about my friend that only plays RPGs now. Like, people are going to be discovering Dishonored and Prey for the first time, and Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein games bloody rock, man. They're fucking good. And more people need to play them. And, with Game Pass, and we will see the missing games, go to Game Pass, like I was saying before. Wolfenstein 2, Evil Within 2, Fallout 3, those will go to Game Pass at some point. But it's a good time, man. Like, I'm seeing so many people in my feed posting screenshots and video of these games they've never played before. And that's the beauty of gaming. You should be enjoying it. It doesn't matter if it's a new game or it's an old game. Just play something you like. And I feel like too many people on the trolling side of, the community just use this old games term as an insult. And it doesn't work like that. It's like, people will play good games no matter how old they are.
Brother, there are some absolute classics in here. When you look at like Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, of course, Wolfenstein: New Order, Doom Eternal, Fallout New Vegas. Like there are some absolute like gems. You know what I'm saying? Like video game Hall of Fame titles in here to be played. And of course, Jamie, you're talking about the FPS boost that is coming to a lot of these games as well. They're even making them perform better, to feel better, and they're already, like I said, in that Hall of Fame type category for games. So Prey, Prey, when it came down to it, was a game that I was definitely interested in. Didn't hold my attention too much. I believe it was in Game Pass for a little bit. And, I played a little bit of it, and I just kind of backed away from it. I probably went back to Destiny 2, to be really honest with you. And when I do go back to Destiny 2, people, that kind of takes over just about everything. But that game right there, I'm glad more people are getting into it. It'll definitely be good to see more other people's opinions as well. But again, I think the big thing about this is these gems and these games from Bethesda, from id, and so on and so forth. These games will not leave Game Pass now. As they put these games in, you see what I'm saying? I think that's the bigger part of this whole thing. 20 games to celebrate. Yeah, that's all well and good, but there's no more wondering if Bethesda, if id Software, if Machine Games, if their games are going to leave Game Pass, because they're not. You know what I'm saying, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, one of my friends the other day texted me saying, "Is Final Fantasy 15 gone from Game Pass?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was surprised because he doesn't really keep up with what games are leaving like a lot of people do in the community. And it's like these.
Oh, by the way, Witcher 3 is leaving Game Pass very soon. By the way.
Yeah, although that game does pop up in the sales all the time, so always stay tuned to the sales because that game's £10 or $15 every so often. So you can always get that cheap. But these games aren't leaving, and you look at Doom 3, right? Doom 3 is 4K 60 frames per second, right? On the Xbox One X and Series X, I think it might be something close to that on the Series S. But it's Doom 3 is a horror Doom, but a lot of people haven't played. There's Doom 64, which I like to call the missing Doom, because a lot of people always assumed back in the 90s that Doom 64 was just a port of Doom 2, which it wasn't. It's its own Doom.
Yeah.
But people can just play these now, and that's fantastic. It's like the Evil Within. If people like Resident Evil games, the older style ones, people are going to love this. So if you like Resident Evil 4 and how those games play, with less tanky controls, of course, the Evil Within is going to really satisfy people. Wolfenstein, you can go absolutely bonkers. You start in a wheelchair in one of the games, and you're just shooting a bunch. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, those games. And Wolfenstein, the New Order, Wolfenstein Old Blood, fantastic games. When we get Wolfenstein 2, I'll have to talk about that because that game's just batshit crazy. But it's New Vegas. New Vegas is in there. Rage 2, Dishonored 2, Skyrim Special Edition. I've been playing Skyrim Special Edition, and I completely forgot how bloody good that game was. Because I haven't played it properly in about 9 years. And it's so good. So good. And I probably wouldn't have went back to Skyrim if it wasn't for Game Pass. So it's a win for everyone, in my opinion.
No doubt, brother. No doubt. Now, since we're talking about Game Pass, I do want to switch it up a little bit. I have this article from Forbes. Hold on. Where did... Oh... They switched it up on me. Oh my goodness. Hold on 1 second. I just want to get the words kind of because there was, how Game Pass does these kind of confidential emails they put out on Twitter to kind of tease new games that are coming out to Game Pass. They did one recently, right? And there, let's see. X that out. They're not letting me go to it. They are not letting me. Forbes is not letting me go. It's like they're trying to force me to subscribe or something. But they came out with that fake email again, and it was talking about a mysterious signal, and then the key phrases in this they were tracking down a mysterious signal, and then they were or am I just the anomaly on this? Now, for anybody who has played the Outriders demo, these words sound eerily familiar to what was going on in the story with that demo. They were tracking down a mysterious signal. The anomaly, which is that storm that is on this alien planet called Enoch, which is very interesting to me, by the way. This storm either killed, dismembered, or changed people with and made them altered and gave them different powers, right? So this really sounds like they're teasing Outriders here. Now, Jamie, I'll let you know, some people tried to throw it out there about Mass Effect on this thing. And again, this is something that Game Pass does. It's a little fun thing that they do. to get people talking and to get people, kind of like contemplating and guessing what the next game going into Game Pass would be. So, Jamie, what do you think here, man? Do you think it's Outriders? Do you think it's something else? What's your thoughts here, bro?
Well, I promise people it's not Mass Effect. It's definitely not Mass Effect. So people can forget about that right now.
When you say that, dude, I'm all for it. I'm going right where your opinion on that. That's where I'm going, bro.
Like the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to sell upwards of 10 million this year. Like people can take that to the bank. When it comes to Outriders, like, look, I've been one of the people talking about this online the longest because I love the look of Outriders when they just first trailer and told us what the game was. Ever since the game was announced, I've been trying to tell people online, and it's driving me bloody crazy. I've been telling people what this game is and what it isn't. It's not a games as a service game. It's not a live service game. It's not like Destiny. It's not like Anthem. It's a single player RPG you can play in co-op. Now, with that said, it does kind of look like it's coming to Game Pass. Like the thing is, when it comes to sci-fi and the whole anomaly and signals, that is pretty much across the board when it comes to sci-fi, right?
Yeah.
But it almost reads almost identical to the blurb that's on the back of the box of Outriders, like the description. And
really?
It kind of, yeah. I mean, here's the thing about Outriders, right? They put out that demo. People love it, right? People discovered what this game actually is and what it isn't. And the thing about this is that the game was meant to come out last year. The game looked finished from what I saw, and they kept pushing the game back. So they put out this demo without ever mentioning it because people did not know what the game was. I've had full-on conversations with people on Twitter that are probably listening right now that they literally thought it was a Destiny clone based on nothing. Now, the demo's out. People have played it. People know what it is now. But with that said, I think it doesn't help the cover. Makes it look a bit like a games as a service game. But it's like, I think it being in Game Pass is a possibility because people don't know what the bloody game is. The advertising for that game, like the trailers, the story trailers, are good. But people just assume it's a games as a service game. And that's the problem. People don't know what the hell it is. That's why the demo exists. So
Jamie, real quick, when it comes to that, because you think it definitely could be Outriders, and like I would be really excited about that because again, I wouldn't have to pay $60 to play Outriders. It would just be in Game Pass. I would download it and play it, which I absolutely love. But I believe it comes out in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, April 1st.
So with that being said, I know people have pre-ordered it and stuff like that. What do you think if it comes out on Game Pass day and date? Do you think do you think it would cause some anger from people who pre-ordered? Like they should give people enough time to decide whether or not they're going to keep their pre-order or play it through the service, right?
I mean, I think if, like, let's say hypothetically it is Outriders, I think they may have worked out a deal because they know it's not going to sell that well because people assume it's a Destiny game. Like, people have literally added me, tell me I'm not interested because it's in games as a service. Despite the fact if you go to their FAQ page, it says not games as a service about 5 times. So if they can make money from the game in Game Pass, maybe that'll be the way to do it. And the thing is, like, I put it like this, I want Outriders to do well. I want a sequel to this because we don't get a lot of sci-fi RPGs. I'm a nerd in a desert of nothingness looking for sci-fi RPGs, and they're just miles away, right? And this is my saving grace, right? I want Outriders to do well. I'm going to hype train this like a motherfucker, right? And I want it to do well. Will it come to Game Pass? It looks kind of likely. It kind of does. And the only thing that kind of sways me off a bit is that it's a Square Enix game, right? We don't have a lot of new Square Enix games launching in Game Pass. Like, we've had ports of games come to Game Pass eventually, but not launching in Game Pass. That's the only thing that throws me off a bit. But it would be big for the game. It would be big because, again, you can play it in single player, you can play it in co-op. It has cross-play with literally every other platform. And the thing is, another reason why I want this game to do well is that the developers are patching the demo almost every other day. They fixing bugs, they putting quality of life features in and stuff. And like, I've never seen a developer do that for a demo. So that just tells me that they're going to be, go above and beyond for the game because I want it to do well. And People Can Fly make awesome games. You know, Gears Judgment, I'm doing the hand side thing. It's like, it's a bit wavy. But Bulletstorm was batshit crazy, and I loved it. We don't get enough games like that. And this game kind of has Gears, it has a bit of Bulletstorm, it has a bit of Mass Effect in there. And it's like, I think that kind of game would be big for Game Pass because if you look at Game Pass right now, there isn't a Mass Effect style game in there. There isn't. You know, we have Dragon Age, but I mean, like the first Dragon Age, it's aged like, you know, an egg. We have Dragon Age 2, which is aged like 2 eggs, and we have Dragon Age Inquisition, which, you know, that's a fine RPG people like. But it's like it would be fresh for Game Pass. And the thing is, I don't like to get my hopes up or other people's hopes up for anything. Like, so like if this isn't Outriders and Game Pass, people are going to be like, oh damn, shite! I'll wait for it to come to Game Pass eventually because it's going to sour people a bit. But that anomaly thing just threw me off a bit. It kind of looks like it might be Outriders.
Dude, I'm leaning towards that as well. Dude, you know, your point about sci-fi with you know, mysterious signals and anomalies, it is a great point because that is like those kind of like situations are a dime a dozen when it comes into sci-fi stories. You know, whether it's TV shows, movies, video games, whatnot. Like, but to have them both in there at the same time, right around the corner from this game dropping, no other game like dropping soon that has kind of like those two situations put together. I'm gonna have to roll with like, yeah, I think it's Outriders coming to Game Pass, man, which to me is huge. I'd be very, very happy with that. I do like the fact that it's not a games as a service. You know, when you're done with the game, you know what you do? Play a different game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do kind of like that. That means I'll actually be able to get to the end of it. If I ever want to go back, you know, I can go back and grind out some end game content, but not, you know, not a list of daily activities, daily challenges, weekly challenges, stuff that you like need to complete day by day, week after week. That's going to feel kind of liberating. You know, I think the game is good. I played the demo. I think the gunplay is solid. The moves, the special moves and stuff like that, I think it all flows really well. I know some people were complaining about the graphics. I did not have a problem with the graphics in this game whatsoever. Was it a jaw-dropping stunner? No, it wasn't. But there are points. There are areas. There are like different like sceneries and special moves that like really look good on my TV. And you know, when it comes down to it, I mean, not every game has to be you know, the Mona Lisa looking of video games. It doesn't have to be that absolute masterpiece all the time, man. As long as it's fun, as long as it keeps you immersed, and as long as it keeps you entertained, I mean, that's what a game's supposed to do. But Jamie, I do have to say, man, we do have to cut this show down because I am a part of a Halo tournament tonight, brother. Me, the Don, K Mega, and Game Down Sights are going against Mr. Boomstick and his crew in Halo Master Chief Collection. So, I don't know, man. Do you have any final thoughts before we kind of wind this down on the whole Bethesda acquisition? And anything we missed? Anything you want to share with the people before we kind of go into outros and everything?
Yeah, like the whole Outriders thing. I think more people need to look for it. Like, a lot of people don't know it's a single-player RPG that you can play in co-op if you want, and we need more of that in gaming. And also, Empire of Sin is coming to Game Pass. I think it's like next week. So more stuff to look forward to. And yeah, it's been a good show, man. And that's pretty much it for today.
Nice. I was just in the middle of vaping right now, and my timing is all off today, guys. But shout out to the chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Yes, we are ending at 7:30. I need to get in on the Master Chief Collection. I need to get my crew together for this tournament. You know what, guys? Here's something for you. If you want more, you just, for some rhyme or reason, you like the sound of my voice or something, I will actually stream the Halo tournament, but I'm gonna make it simple for myself, and I will stream it on Twitch. All right, so you go to Twitch, you go to Xbot448, and I will definitely stream it. I think I got to download the app on the Series S though, but I will definitely do that. It's a good thing that we are winding it down now. But you guys have been absolutely incredible. The thoughts, the opinions, and the camaraderie, man. The people going back and forth, just hanging out and talking about Xbox games and stuff like that in the chat has been absolutely amazing today. Jamie, we all know you are a YouTuber, man, aka the Elusive Gamer. Why don't you let people know about your YouTube channel and what plans you have for the week when it comes to that, and where they can get a hold of you on social media, brother?
Yeah, dude, man, it's always a pleasure. And the chat's actually been really well behaved today because sometimes people kind of pop off. But yeah, it's been a good show, man. My channel's The Elusive Gamer. I just hit 2,000 subscribers. I am being really consistent again, back to how I was early last year. And yeah, I have a lot more Xbox-style content coming over the next few weeks and pretty much forever, hopefully. But yeah, that's The Elusive Gamer on YouTube. My Twitter is Jamie Moran UK, where it's all gaming and jokes and stuff.
Nice. And of course, guys, you know who I am. I am Xbot448. You are on my channel. If this is the first time you are here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Not only is this the home of the Series X podcast, it is also the home of the Next podcast, which airs every Thursday, 8 p.m. And of course, that is prime time. And that show stretches across the gaming industry. We talk about every platform, just basically the gaming news that is going down throughout the week, rumors, stuff like that. Me and the crew over there, we get into all that stuff. So, Xbox gamers, me and Jamie, we dedicate these shows to you guys. It is about us Xbox gamers and nothing but Xbox. And then when it comes to the Next podcast, that is more your typical, we will talk about all the gaming news that goes on throughout the week. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, man. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'm going to end the show the way I do every week. Guys, as always, keep it gaming and keep it Xbox. Have a great night. And I hope to see you guys on my Twitch channel in about a half hour. Have a great night, everybody.